Hi, my name is Rick, and I'm going to give you an overview of the whole platform that we have up until this point. We're getting ready to do our public preview, and I think it's a good time to just talk through what we have right now. So, what you're going to learn is you're going to learn how the CLI works, just top level stuff, how dev mode works. When you're working on agents locally, how does that work? What is the dev experience like? Deploying an agent, and then in the web app, just show you how to communicate with an agent, show you the sessions and the logs and some of the integrations. So that's what we're going to go over in this video. So the first thing is agentuity.dev is where the documentation website is. We're still working on it, continuing to work on it. But if you go to the introduction, you'll see there's a couple instructions here. One is to install the CLI. So if you're on Windows, WSL, or Linux, there's a release page that we have for the CLI, and you can download it, put it in your path on Windows. For Mac, we use Brew, so you can Brew install Agentuity. And as soon as you do that, you'll be able to run, let me just show you the command line, Agentuity, and you'll see there's a bunch of commands. So the first thing you want to do is log in, Agentuity login. That'll take you to the website. If you don't have an account, it'll have you create an account, and then it'll have you enter in a little code, and then you'll authenticate your CLI, and you'll be logged in, ready to go. If you already have one, you type login, it'll do the login dance, and then you'll be ready to go as well. After that, you want to create a project. So let's just do that. Okay. Let's do Agentuity create, and it'll walk you through the steps. So I'm going to pick an organization. I have two organizations. I'm going to pick mine, and you can pick a bunch of different runtimes. So right now we support Bone, Node.js, and then Python. Now, under those, there are other things too. For example, if you pick Python, you'll also get the option to pick Crew AI or LangChain, that kind of stuff, or just blanket Python with UV. Depends. I'm going to pick Bun. I like to use Bun. Bun's really fast, and Bun coupled with Grok with a Q, it's just amazingly fast. So I'm going to build something with Bun. And then once you do that, we have some templates for you to choose from. Now, one thing that is important to understand about Agentuity is we don't make a decision on which framework you only have to use one framework, or even the Agentuity framework. We don't have one. So you can pick a template. We have a bunch already. There's some examples in our example repo. You can also pick one of these and then bring your own. So if you're using Mastra or you're using some other in JavaScript, or if you're doing Python, you're bringing Crew in, you have a Crew agent already. You can do that. You can use Crew with Agentuity. So I'm just going to pick OpenAI SDKs, just a vanilla SDK or OpenAI calls. With TypeScript, I'm just going to say hello world. I'm not going to give it a description. I don't need to give a description. And then agent name, we'll just call this hello one. Authentication, the first agent you create will get an endpoint. It'll get a webhook URL that you can hit, and you can pick an authentication method, none or API key. I'm going to pick none because it's a demo, but surely you're going to want to pick API key. And you can adjust some of this stuff later too. So do that. And then deployment options. So we have a GitHub app, so you can hook up GitHub to this project. And so every time you commit to main, it'll automatically deploy the agent. Or if you have more complicated things like a monorepo or something, you can hook up a GitHub action. I'm just going to hit no here because we don't need to hook that up. So once it's good to go, it's going to install it, create the project, and usually it's pretty quick, a little slower on Python. So there you go. We tell you, hey, it's ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and CD into Hello World here. And why don't we talk about the dev experience first? So let's say Agentuity dev. So that's going to build a project. The same thing as like Bun Run, Bun Start, or whatever. So once it runs, you'll see we know from this project that we have one agent. It's called Hello One. We can interact with it via this curl. So we can curl it, and that's the webhook that it calls. But also we have this URL to dev mode. And so this is like our interactive playground for these sets of agents. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. So let's go ahead and click on that. And we'll connect to the CLI. So you'll see we're connected, we're ready to go. And now on the left side is a canvas where we can interact with the agent. And this specific template takes text, so we can talk to it kind of like a ChatGPT thing. But some agents, when you're building them, they might only take JSON. And so then that's what you do. You can also attach files, some agents might accept PDFs, right? So it just depends on your agent. And then here, the drop down, of course, we only have one agent, but we'll show all the agents in your project. So we just created this one. I'm just going to do something silly. I'm going to the moon. Run this thing. So it's going to call that webhook URL just in our dev mode. I could have done this as well through curl, which is what we showed you here. So there's multiple ways to do it. So now I'm hitting the agent, it's telling me a story. So this is what's called a session. So the agent ran and we're watching it. Again, this is using the OpenAI SDK. I'll show you the code in a minute. And you'll notice this is the session that ran. You can click into it and you'll get more information about it. It took 10 seconds to run. You can click into it, find out, oh, this is the Hello One agent. And this is also in production. It's the same experience in production. You'll see it says dev mode true here because that's what it was. The SDK version, some more information. So let's jump over to the logs. Same thing. You'll see the logs. It should show you over here too. We're running locally, so it'll be in both places. But again, same experience as in production. We try to keep it the same. The dev mode in a nutshell. But let me show you the code really quick, just so you understand how this works. It's going to take a second. Let me open up Cursor so I can show you what this looks like. Oh, you know what? While that's doing this, something important. Agentuity MCP. We have an MCP server. So if you run Agentuity MCP install, it will install an Agentuity MCP server reference in your config for Cursor, Windsurf, Cloud Code, and some of those. Great, because then in Cursor, you can say, I'm trying to create an agent, blah, 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 and it'll run Agentuity create and the different commands that you need to run to create it. So that's helpful to know. Anyway, all right, so let's just go to the code. I'll just do it in NeoVim now. I won't even open Cursor. It's just because I'm just going to show you the code real quick. So in a project, an Agentuity project, you'll have an agents folder. And we have some conventions that are important to follow, but inside of those conventions, you can do whatever you want. So again, you can bring your own framework. So in this case, again, we're using OpenAI. There's a library. And what we do is we give you this handler here and it has request response context. Hopefully that's familiar for a lot of people that have been using Node and Express or Next or whatever. It's a very similar paradigm. And so what happens is when you deploy your agent, we have to route the webhook calls or the MCP calls or however you talk to your agent. We have to route that to your agent. And so we give you a handler here in your runtime to handle that. Inside that, you can do whatever you want, but we give you a bunch of stuff there. I'm not going to go into this video on what is on request response and context, but you can do a lot of things. You get a key value store and a vector store, and you can route and hand off to another agent in your project. So it's pretty cool, but I won't go into that in this one. Inside the function is where you do your logic. So in this case, this is just a really simple LLM call, as you can tell. And you'll notice this is where in content here, request data text, that's where I said here, oh, I disconnected CLI, so we lost it. But here it would have said, what I said, tell me a story about going to the moon, right? And then you just respond with text, or you respond with JSON, or you can respond. There's a bunch of things you can do here, or you can hand it off to another agent or a bunch of agents, depending on what it is. So that's in a nutshell. It's pretty simple. And again, if you've built agents before, either in Python, you can bring Crew in or Mostra here, or just Vercel AI SDK. That's what I like to use with Bun. So that's it in a nutshell. All right. So once we're ready to go, I'm just going to go ahead and deploy this. So watch this. Agentuity deploy. And there you go, that quick. So now let's go track this. So let's go hit this URL here. It's going to open it up. There's our hello world. And if I click on deployment, you'll see this is a deployment. It deployed from my MacBook, and it'll show different things if it's deployed via GitHub, for example. It was triggered via GitHub. So there's a few things you get. You get agents. You can click on agents, and then you can see how much the agents cost, the recent sessions for that agent. You can click on this, in this case, this webhook, and I can copy this right here and then trigger this agent. Actually, I'll go ahead and do that right now. And there you go. So it fired off this webhook and it triggered the agent. And pretty soon you'll see a session here. So you can also hook up other things to this agent. This is a visualization of we hooked up a webhook automatically for you for this agent, but you could also hook up a cron job. In the future, we're going to hook up lots of other different things. And then, of course, in your code, you can send this off to another agent, but or a webhook. You can do that in code, but you can also decouple that. So you can not have an opinion in your agent of where it should send it, right? So that's where we're here. We're saying, hey, send this off to another webhook or another place. We'll have multiple places you can send it. So you have the orthogonal ability to hard code your code and how the agent sends things off, or decouple it and then from here do that. Let's see here. So let's go to, yeah. So there's the session. Took 12 seconds to run. You can click in and see information about it. Let's see here. I think I saw it on agent. Yeah. So this one's pending right now as well. So then if you can go to logs, now this is logs in production. Of course, you can click on it, get more information. Very typical log experience. And in settings is where you can set your environment variables for your agent in production. And then integrations, this is where you can manage, for example, your GitHub settings, and you can hook this project up to GitHub. So every time you commit to main, it'll auto deploy the agent, which is pretty cool. And that's in the project scope. Then you also can globally come out and click agents or sessions or logs and see everything across all the projects, all the sessions. You can also click into memory and you can give your agents memory. Key value vector is what we have right now. And in the SDK, you can actually call that really easy. You don't have to really import anything or deal. It just happens for you automatically. Lots more to come there, but just know that it's there. And that's really it for just the general overview of tuning in.